Hello and welcome to the ninth PlanetDestiny podcast. We're on the ninth one now. Today I am joined by Tefty, Briar Rabbit, and we have a special guest this week. It is none other than Dado from Dado Does Destiny. Hello, Dado.
Hello.
How are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good.
Awesome.
Doing pretty good. You know, Iron Banner's back. Haven't got a chance to play though, but I hope I can do some over the weekend.
I just got back from a conference, finally got settled in, and yesterday was the first day I actually got to sit down and play it a bunch, and gotta say, a lot of interesting things. We'll discuss them a little bit later. I wanted to ask you a couple questions, though, right off the start, get a little interview thing going here.
Alrighty.
First off, how did you really get started doing this whole YouTube Dado Does Destiny thing? Because it's pretty cool that you're doing that like solo now for the most part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I originally started with Call of Duty like every other person on YouTube. And I started because I was just really sick of having bad teammates. So I thought if I could at least teach, a couple of people how to be better players, then I wouldn't have such crappy teammates.
A noble effort.
Yeah, a very futile effort as well. But I still really like doing YouTube, but I just didn't really have the time to do Call of Duty stuff anymore. I was kind of falling out of love with it. Destiny kind of comes around the corner, and I'm a big World of Warcraft fan. Mm-hmm. Huge fan. I'd still be playing if I could, if it matched up with my schedule.
Same.
But I thought that Destiny would be a good replacement for World of Warcraft because it seemed very MMORPG-like, and they said they're going to have raids and stuff, and I was like, alright, I think I can get down on this, so I kind of used it as a replacement for World of Warcraft, I wouldn't have to commit as much time, it sounded like, and I still really liked doing YouTube, and so I just kind of was like, alright, let's see where this goes, and
you really got like started on the ground floor for the Destiny YouTube thing. At the start, it was like you and More Console were the only ones that were doing Destiny related stuff, and you guys were doing it pretty early on, like before the alpha even started.
Yeah, well, even before us was Destiny updates.
Oh yeah,
he was going way before us. I think he started in October of 2012.
Yeah.
So what was it, 3 years? So yeah, we all started pretty early, but I definitely attribute starting somewhat early a lot to having some success on YouTube, because it really helped establish, that I knew what I was talking about, I guess, maybe, and that I was excited for it, and just building that kind of like base of videos. People would come to the channel and be like, oh wow, he's been covering it for a while, he must either really like it or know what he's talking about. So I guess that kind of helped.
Yeah, like you also kind of started out like the weapon review formats and the weekly Nightfall formats that everyone kind of adopted onto their own channels as well. I know when I was first starting out, I looked at your videos, and then Rel, who does PlanetSide, I looked at y'all's two video reviews for weapons, and that's kind of how I got started doing this whole PlanetDestiny thing as well.
Yeah. I mean, I would say Xbox Ahoy and Driftdoor were really big inspirations to me.
Definitely.
On how I wanted to do content, because, they didn't beat around the bush. They gave you the rock solid info, very high production quality, and that's exactly how I wanted to model my content. I didn't want to mislead people or anything like that. I didn't want to clickbait. Just, here's the facts, here's the stuff. Do with it what you will.
Yeah, I definitely do like that about your stuff. It's just, hey, here's the weapon. I like at the very start how you show how many shots it takes to kill each particular enemy for both headshots and body shots. I usually just kind of condense that into like 2 sentences, but it's really nice seeing that graphic pop up on your screen.
Yeah, it's I mean, people like graphics, so. I mean, it's not too fancy, but I think it gets the job done. And people like the stats, people really like the super in-depth stats. So
definitely, the Iron Banner is back this week, and this is the first time it's actually come since pulse rifles, since the big kind of weapon tuning happened.
Right.
let's just go around the table. How have you guys been enjoying? How have you guys been enjoying it? And have you noticed anything different about this particular Iron Banner from the other ones?
Somebody broke my Suros regime, and I'm actually pretty upset about it. I've noticed quite a few differences, and that being one of them, the Red Death is now in everybody's hand because Sur sold it last week. A lot of handgun users. That's nothing new, but now they don't have to rely on their auto rifles to get that bounty anymore. You can achieve that bounty through any primary weapon. What's it called? Focused aggression?
Something like that.
Where you gotta get
something like that.
Get 10 or 20 headshots to
it's 20 headshots
with a primary,
anything, which is
any primary.
Good. No more Suros. I mean, I haven't seen Suros in PvP that much anymore since the auto rifle nerf, but good. The less Suros, the better.
Yeah. I noticed that we can actually play Burning Shrine and Asylum for once.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, they fixed the map issue where we only have 5 maps, so that's good.
Yeah, the map rotation was a big problem for me because I would be like, okay, Rusted Lands, Blind Watch, Rusted Lands, Blind Watch, occasional Firebase Delphi. That got old after a while.
Oh yeah.
Now we have some variety in there, which I really dig.
Yeah.
What I've really liked seeing was just there is a very wide range of weapons being used. While I will say that auto rifles are definitely on probably the lowest end now. I think I only saw like 2 or 3 in my 8 hours of playing yesterday. Like hand cannons, pulse rifles, even scout rifles were all pretty well represented. Scout rifles really do feel a little bit more niche though. But they're still being used. So I definitely did like seeing that. I still hate that Fellwinter's Lie is like the thing to use as your secondary.
I got killed a lot by that.
Yeah, it is pretty brutal.
I just love how they nerf shotguns and then they just introduce a new shotgun that basically negates every nerf that they've ever done.
Yeah,
that was really poor timing.
So shotguns are getting nerfed. Their damage is getting capped off. By the way, here's a shotgun with 1,000 impact.
Yeah, it's like
here's
a
best
second
shotgun
tier.
you could ever think of.
Yeah, it's like a whole new category of shotgun. They're like, hey, here's an ultra shotgun.
Yeah. It's what Universal Remote wishes it could be, honestly.
I do wish that weapon was better.
Yeah, I wish some of those nerfs they applied to shotguns hadn't been applied to Universal Remote, because then now the only exotic thing about it is that you can equip it in your primary.
I have been rolling with a Universal Remote Praedyth build that I really like, but people want to give Universal Remote more credit, and I wish I could, but just in PvP, it sometimes can have the range of a Fellwinter's if you hit every pellet to the head, but otherwise it's just an ordinary shotgun. It's just not very good.
Pretty much.
I guess. PvE, it's cool because roll double shotguns and just murder everything, but PvE or PvP is just
Yeah.
That build is a lot of fun in a Nightfall. If you got all 3 of your, the whole team is running just shotguns, that makes for a lot of fun in a Nightfall.
Arc damage shotguns, yeah.
I think we reenacted that one scene from the initial RoboCop on the Archon Priest last week. Just all using shotguns on it, and he's just standing there, just taking all of it. Felt so good. I think we dropped him quicker with everyone using shotguns than everyone using Gjallarhorn. So that was cool.
Yeah.
I'm very happy about the shotgun buff in PvE. Yeah.
Agreed.
It was so needed. Yeah.
Very happy about it, yeah.
What else? I want to discuss like the new maps in Iron Banner. How do you guys feel about the Asylum and Burning Shrine, and I think Anomaly as well? Like those maps in a 6v6 setting, because this is the first time we're really getting to see those in a 6v6 slightly more competitive setting than just the normal playlists.
I'm fine with them. Anomaly I don't think is a great 6v6 map. Just because I don't know, I feel like it's too small, and some of those maps can create real cluster moments. Asylum, everyone just bum rushes top B, but there's a lot of action. It's constant action up there. Burning Shrine, also constant action in the main doorway. But I don't know, there's something, maybe I just suck on Anomaly, I don't know, and I'm just biased. But
Anomaly's bizarre because that whole area is open too, so anytime you go into that middle area, you can get shot from any angle.
It
and
sucks
there's so many
capping
entryways into that area that you can't really react to them all. So anytime you're in there, it's like
it's got to be a team effort to cap B, and
Yeah.
I never have much of a team when I'm playing solo, so
I get the same feeling on Anomaly. Like I'm always like, am I just bad at Anomaly or what's going on? But I tend to rock a Scout or might have multi-tool and a shotgun with Radiant Dance Machines, and every time I hit Anomaly, I'm like, oh, do I really have to change my loadout? Yes, I do.
I actually
Here comes
rock
Thorn.
I rock a sniper rifle for that map of all things.
There's so many corridors though.
That's what I like. There's these long corridors that are just really easy to snipe on. Like as you go up the ramp to B, you can snipe across there to the other people that always come out of the spawn. Or on the C side, there's a nice long hallway to the back caves, and there's another one that looks across B. And I'm sure there's some background footage going on right now. Like I just get constant headshots. It's so easy to predict when people are coming around the corners and exactly where their head's going to be. So like from both A and C, it's really easy to do it. So once you get in the habit of it, you can essentially control B point all by yourself with a sniper rifle.
See, I always think about people sniping right there, so I go around and I try to avoid that. So, but then again, I don't do the best on Anomaly, so maybe I need to switch it up. Go to sniper.
My strategy is to walk straight up that ramp and get my head blown.
Eventually, they'll run out of bullets.
Yeah.
The more criticals, the better.
Yeah. I will say those maps are interesting. I do think Burning Shrine is like the perfect size for a 6v6.
Yes.
I
love that map.
I love the fact that it's 3 lanes of, gameplay really. And there's a lot of focus on B, but then there's plenty of room to still move around and get some good flanking action going from the other sides.
Yeah, the points are close together. There's plenty of flank routes. There's multiple levels.
Yep.
You get a giant sunburn.
Yeah, I actually like that sun bloom effect that kind of hides you if you use it correctly.
Yep.
That's a really cool effect.
We always try to cap A side because we just use the sun to our advantage.
Definitely.
Just defend with the sun to your backs.
Mm-hmm.
I do like Asylum, the Venus map as well. I just wish that B point. It's so difficult to cap once a team holds it. It's so hard to take it back and everything. Then it's kind of the same for all those maps.
Well, Bungie's not afraid to change the geometry based on how the level's being played. We saw that. It's the Mars map. Blind Watch, where they moved around a lot of stuff to try and change that up.
Yeah, they capped up the windows.
and it didn't work at all.
No, yeah.
Not
Did
at all.
not work at all.
I think it's actually worse now. In all honesty,
honestly, might be worse.
Yeah, I was actually just talking with some subscribers last night about that, actually. And we were talking about they had mentioned how before B was on the top platform where that first door is.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously moving it down to that middle platform created even more of a cluster. And if you don't get, is it C-spawn? If you don't get C-spawn, then you have an uphill battle. Right?
Yep. It's a very uphill battle the entire time.
Yep. Yeah,
very. It's my primary objective during that entire match.
Yeah, flip the spawn. Yeah.
Try to be the anchor for C, and then the rest of your team will eventually spawn there, and you'll win.
Yep.
Yeah.
In this Iron Banner, one of the interesting things that has happened is that Xur, it was last week, and he sold Red Death. Have you guys seen Red Death a lot in this Iron Banner?
Yeah. Yep. I was really excited that he sold Red Death, not just for Iron Banner, but for the raid. Now I'm not getting so many teammates dying because they can use Red Death against that final encounter against Crota on hard mode where you can't get your health back.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using Red Death, and I get far fewer wipes now, especially in that initial room where we're just fighting endless waves of yellow health bar enemies, and then everybody walks out of there half dead.
It's also a nice kind of reality check that you don't need Gallarhorn to kill Crota.
Yeah.
You don't. You just a rocket launcher is completely fine.
Yeah, you've never needed it. If everyone in your team fires a rocket, he's gonna go down, Gallarhorn or not.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's people make such a big deal over it. That is a reason why I think Gallarhorn needs to be nerfed a little bit. Is because people rely on it too much. I get that it's exotic, but you shouldn't be getting like 2 to 3 rockets worth of damage for one.
I will agree that it's a little strong. I hope they don't nerf it because then I'll have to go back and re-review all of them for all the videos.
It was helpful when you go ahead.
I did some research on it, and it looks like the rockets add up to be theoretically double rocket. Because the tracking can split the focus on it, and not all impacts are true impacts. It's not always a double rocket, but it has the potential to basically be 2 rockets worth of damage upon impact. And they set the ceiling too high on it, so now they can't have any rocket launcher that can compete with that, because if they do, then suddenly you have a rocket launcher that does more than 2 rockets worth of damage per rocket. And that's why it's probably, I think, going to get nerfed at some point in the future.
Yeah,
but
it's not good that you have LFG groups only taking people with that weapon. Like, when a weapon's that good that people won't take you if you don't have it, we got a problem.
Yeah.
It really came in handy when we went through that long drought where Xur wasn't selling any heavy ammo, so you'd get into raid groups and nobody had any. They'd already spent all their money on getting it from the weapon vendor. They've already spent all their black wool tokens, whatever those are called,
black wax idol.
Yeah. And nobody was entering the raid with any heavy synth at all. So everybody was trying to, use that glitch. So you're just hearing like hand cannons firing off in that room all the time. And then you'd get out to actually fight Crota, and half the people in your raid team said, I don't have any heavy.
Yeah.
So you better have at least 2 guys who did have Gallarhorn at that point. But now that's less of an issue because everybody kind of learned their lesson.
Yep.
Everybody's buying heavy synth when Xur comes around.
I've been enjoying using Word of Crota in PvE as well, just because then it opens up. It's pretty much a mini Gallarhorn. It tracks. It has an explosion after the explosion.
Hunger Crota. Yeah.
Hunger Crota. It's
okay. I was like,
wait. Yeah, Hunger
wait,
Crota. There
what?
you
You said word
I need to go look at my Word of Crota.
It's so good, man. They changed it.
It's a primary Gallarhorn. You are missing out.
Let's see. Okay, so I think we're all on PS4 here. Does anyone here have Fourth Horseman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm recently on PS4, so I don't have those exotics yet.
Your time will come, young one. Have you guys noticed that Fourth Horseman's stats were changed in the past patch?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
they basically turned it into a slightly weaker Fellwinters that fires faster.
It fires faster. It has like pretty much the same impact, I think. But then its range is still the Fourth Horseman's range.
Yeah.
Which is what Fellwinter should be, right?
Yeah. I mean, like, if they reduce the range on it, if they didn't make it so you could get all the best shotgun perks at the same time on the thing, then maybe it'd be okay. But I remember, I think Bungie said that Fourth Horseman's stats were adjusted unintentionally.
Yeah, I
feel like
believe
I
so.
saw that somewhere.
I think I saw it somewhere when they were mentioning the weapons that got kind of redid, both Universal Remote, Vex Mytho class, and then Fourth Horseman got kind of messed up in the patch.
Yeah. So, I still am not going to use it because it's a waste of an exotic slot, and I would much rather use, Secret Handshake, Found Verdict over those, even if I'm not even going to use Fellwinters.
But it looks so cool, and it sounds
really cool.
It sounds.
I will say I do love the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, imagine like you have a big rubber paddle or something and you hit the end of an open piece of PVC pipe. Like that's just what it sounds like to me. I did some Blue Man Group stuff. I'm sorry, but
I was using it today actually in the weekly heroic, and it's a fun gun to use in PvE. In PvP, it doesn't really have a niche like Fellwinters does, but it's a fun gun to use. It looks cool. Like you said, it sounds really good.
What was the previous fire rate on it before?
it was the fastest in the game.
It was.
I was wondering
I think it was
about
pretty
that.
fast.
was wondering about that because I looked at it on a friend's and inspected it, and I was like, how does it have full auto in that slow of a fire rate?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
it does fire about twice as fast as Fellwinter's. It's not really saying much because Fellwinter's fires really,
It's
really
super slow,
slowly.
yeah.
But I think the full auto does a little something, even though
Right.
it has like barely any fire rate. So,
It just
'cause it
stops you
cuts
from
the input
oversaying
but the
that.
recoil just sends it to the moon. So you got to be quick to readjust it to
Yeah.
get any sort of benefit out of full auto.
Have you guys
Yeah,
noticed that
yeah.
for shotguns, if you aim down sights, instead of hip firing it, the recoil is reduced some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like in auto rifles.
Yeah. That's something I wish people would start using for shotguns as well. If you start aiming down sights, then hey, the recoil isn't going to go everywhere.
Yep. Yeah.
Dotto, has the buff to the shotguns changed any of your raid strategies, either on Vault of Glass or on Courtesan?
I wouldn't say that they did. I mean, the trade-off is supposed to be, you're putting yourself in danger for this really, really high damage, but for Crota hard mode, you never want to get that close to anything unless everyone's doing it, so you just burst down a target. I mean, we've even done shotgun-only Crota, and, like, no invis or anything like that, or no grenades. We literally just leaped over his head and just shotgunned him, but I wouldn't say so. I guess maybe for normal mode, Crota's end, we would use them a little bit more. My group would use them a little bit more, and Vault of Glass is like, let's do it for fun. But I guess maybe like
It's really effective against Praetorians. I found.
Yeah.
Minotaurs.
yeah, that definitely is true. But I've found myself just using them more in strikes, and just like whenever I need to do strikes or whatever, I'll just roll with like universal remote and another shotgun, and just dance around the entire room, just one-shotting everything. That is a lot of fun, though.
That is
Challenge mode: do Valis Tuareg strike with only shotguns. That was fun.
challenge accepted. I found that when I'm running for the sword, like when I'm in the pit running for the sword to take down Crota, I'll bring a shotgun with me. And that way, if the sword bearer actually has just a little health left, I can burn him down really quick.
Yeah.
And what is it? Sword bearer has a +2 agility.
Swordbreaker,
on it,
yeah.
too?
Swordbreaker, yeah.
Swordbreaker.
Yeah, agility in the hive
Found that.
disruptor.
Yeah, I found that's pretty effective in that one scenario.
Yeah,
Yeah. I feel like I don't think any of us still even run shotgun, though, just because we're all focused on killing boomers.
Mm-hmm.
I forget, am I like the only person who does left side strat still, because I find the middle boring?
The middle is a little.
No,
boring.
everybody finds the middle boring, but you're still the only one
Yeah.
who does left side strat.
People don't
Fair
like
enough.
wiping.
Yeah, we all just stick with snipers for that, just because it's way more important than anything else, really, to kill those boomers. So
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What sniper rifle do you usually use for that?
Black Hammer.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
And
say
also-
sometimes I used Icebreaker, but now it's Black Hammer.
So explain the strategy on that, because obviously if you kill both, you get a wizard that comes out. So how do
Right.
you guys handle that?
So we have a very specific timing down where basically we will, when we first emerge from the room, kill the boomers immediately. Everyone focus fires. We rush down the stairs, try and get the sword bearer over to us, kill it around the same time that the wizard is spawning. So the wizard would be spawning, sword bearer is about maybe quarter health, finish off the sword bearer, then approximately when the wizard has maybe 75% health, I'll go grab the sword, jump up on the rock, and then by the time I'm up on the rock, the wizard is down. We do 2 waves on Crota, and then basically as soon as that ends, boomers come out. So right after, or like while I'm doing damage, boomers will spawn, and then everyone will start working on boomers, sword goes away, rinse, repeat. And we always take them down in the middle. So it's just making sure that you're really fast and just make sure you're communicating with your timing. And otherwise, it
And you use
works the
a
same
Titan
way.
to run the sword, right?
Yep, I am our sword person. And
Do you jump up from the middle, or do you go to left rock?
no, I go to the left rock.
Left rock,
Jumping up
okay.
from the middle, way too risky with the boomers on
yeah.
the other side.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, that's some tight timing.
It's
Yeah.
You can't do that with like a random LFG group.
Right, yeah.
That's the same strategy that we used when we when we were going for world first, and they were like, no, let's change strategy. Like, no, just get the timing down, and it'll be
Right.
perfect. And once we got that down, like it was easy.
Yeah, I mean, even now we still, will have issues with the timing, but sometimes I would say most of the time it's related to the fact that the sword bearer's like hiding behind a pillar or something, or one of the boomer knights will just not come out, and that'll delay us, and that's when we run into a problem. But then again, we'll just, if we have a bad first one, we'll just wipe it.
Just wipe it, yeah. So on the hits, do you what's your strategy in the hits? Do you always do 3-3, 3-3, and then ogres, or do you do like 4-4 and then how do you counter it out?
I mean, we've done both. We've done 2 takedown kills, but most of the time we do 3 takedowns, and so everyone rockets. I will jump up, and I can usually get in 3 slams. I usually go for 3, and I go for 12 slams total per 2 swords and a super. And that's like basically at the exact point where if you damage him anymore, he's going to enrage. So 12 slams and a super is good because it gives you kind of like an extra buffer because you need, I think, 18 slams total. So 666. Yeah. And so that extra super really helps with like the last wave because for some reason shit always hits the fan on the last wave, like, oh, I died, or just something bad always happens. I don't know what it is, but something bad always happens. Yeah, so it really helps for it, but you don't 100% need it.
Nice. Why have you chosen to be the sword bearer as a titan as opposed to having a hunter do it?
I think partially it was because of like my streams, like people want to see like what's the most action-y thing.
Right.
So that kind of played a little bit of a role, but we just we used to run a hunter, but that's because he was our only 31 when we were first going for it. And but I mean, I don't think it has really to do with anything. Just it was just like, who wants to run the sword? I will. Okay, you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just it didn't have to do with anything in particular.
Well, I'm definitely glad that you're doing it as a Titan because I really hate seeing again and looking for groups. We need a hunter for sword bearer. It's like you can do it as anyone. Right. You can do it with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've like our entire group has like done challenge modes and strategies where like we've had to rotate the sword around to everybody. Like everyone needed to hit on Crota before we would be able to kill him. So everyone in our group knows how to run the sword, and it's not really that hard at all anyway.
No.
Having invis just it's like insurance basically, but as long as you know what you're doing, it's not a big deal at all.
Yeah. I will say the Titan jump is probably the best jump to use in Crota's end.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Which would
full agreement on that.
Probably segue our next discussion. I wanted to this is kind of an odd topic, but it has a point later on. Jumps in the game and how they differ. Like warlocks and hunters, we each have like our normal jumps, so double jump or glide. And then we each have, another jump, blink. While Titans, you guys have like the exact same jumps for both specs. But at the same time, I think Titans still have like the absolute best jump for both PvP and PvE. It's really odd. What do you do Titan a lot more than me, Dado? What do you use as your upgrade or as your perk for your jumps?
I have used increased height since the first day that Destiny came out, and I haven't switched to anything. I mean, I switched to like increased control and catapult to try them out. Didn't like them. Increased height, definitely way to go. That's all I've ever used for 99.9% of me playing Destiny. And I definitely agree that they have the best jump. As after I've played all 3 classes, can totally agree that they have the best jump.
Like Hunter triple jump is really cool for like really odd things, like jumping down and then juking someone to thinking that you've fallen down in a PvP area and then hopping back up. But just Titan jump, there's like why do they make it so Titan jump can just go so high compared to all the other jumps?
I don't know, but it certainly comes in handy. The thing that I like most is that, if you're a warlock and you jump, but you kind of like want to time it so you're not jumping right away, like you're not activating glide right away. If you do that, you'll just slowly fall down.
Yeah.
Whereas with Titan,
Yeah.
you can delay your jump and still get a little bit of height and distance compared to Warlock Glide, and that's what I really like, is that I won't go down when I activate my jump. I'll stay level where I'm going.
Like, you can.
Glide is the hardest of all the jumps to master.
Agreed.
It
Yeah,
just
it
feels
really
so
is.
weird. After going from Hunter to Titan to Warlock, it was just like, oh, I just don't like this. Doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Especially when
It's my
starting
least
out,
favorite.
like starting out as a warlock, and you get your first jump, like, yeah, see what this does, and you're just like, ugh, and then you're like, well, maybe you'll get better, and like
It's too lackadaisical.
Yeah,
Yeah. It relies too much on the double tap to get any kind of boost, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all timing.
Yeah, and all the other ones have this like pacing. Like you could pace the Hunter double jump, and you can pace the Titan boost, but the glide is like you have to hit the glide right now, and that's it.
Right.
You know?
what I like about the Titan jump the most is like you can speed up your run speed with it just a little bit by like at like say you just jump once, and then at the height of your jump as you're going down, tap it again, and you'll like zoom forward just a little bit. It's always been really fun to do
Yeah.
for like shoulder charging.
I do like Blink a lot, though. I think it's a fun mechanic in PvE. I don't really use it in PvP at
Oh,
all.
you're using it in the wrong
Really?
place then.
You are in the minority there.
I'm sorry. I think I said it backward. I use it in PvP.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
I don't use it in PvE
I was
at
gonna
all.
say.
Yes, that is the correct answer.
Yes.
There you go.
Sorry.
Yep. Don't ever blink in front of Crota.
And-
It will remove your invisibility.
The that's what I kind of wanted to move the discussion into, was like Blink in PvP is so damn strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were like just going up against, a full team yesterday where all of them were either Blade Dancers or Void Walkers, and they would just blink everywhere with shotguns. And it was so annoying.
And Fell Winters doesn't make that any better.
It's true.
No.
Yeah. Like I'm wondering what they could do to possibly rebalance it, because right now in PvP, if you're Void Walker or Blade Dancer, you just run Blink. Or if you're one of those classes that can run Blink, you seriously consider going to that subclass that has Blink, because it's just so strong. Like you can negate damage from it. There's a couple frames in the animation where you don't take damage at all, which is really annoying.
Yeah, the problem is that it creates a moment of invulnerability. I realize you could still shoot them while they're blinking. You can hit them in the foot or whatever while they're still activating, but it does create that sense of invulnerability, because the difference between Blink and all the other jumps is that all the other jumps you can see where the person's going. There's a tell, right? They are making the conscious decision that, okay, if I jump, that my trade-off is I'm going to be very vulnerable in the air, and I can't shoot as accurately unless you have a hand cannon.
Yeah.
Whereas with Blink, there's no tell at all. You don't know where they're going, and they literally could be going in any direction at all, and you don't have that portion of time where you're invulnerable, because one, people are just trying to look for you, and two, it happens instantaneously. So it's almost impossible to counter against. The only way to counter it is by having your own shotgun, and you have to find them quickly in the air, and then maybe you'll trade with them.
It is exacerbated by...
That's the best case scenario you can have for yourself.
It's exacerbated by a couple of things, too. It's like, you can't look up and down at the same speed that you can look left to right. So if someone blinks above you, they can look down at you quicker than you're going to be able to actually look up at them. And then, shotguns playing a role there. I think depending on your connection speed, like it's quicker, or the animation shows for the person that blinked before it shows for the person that is looking at the person that blinked. So you're thinking they're at the top of their blink when actually they're already on top of you or something like that. There's some connection issues there that seem to plague Destiny.
Yeah. And I mean, I know, the biggest defense of Blink is like, well, it has a cooldown. Well, Yeah, but, if you can use 2 blinks in rapid succession, and that's usually enough to get the kill. If you need a 3rd blink to kill someone, you need to, learn to hit those first couple of shots. But, I don't think that's a good enough of an excuse, because by the time you kill your target, you're probably not going to be rapid fire blinking onto 6 people at a time. So the cooldown will reset by the next time you're trying to attack a target. So I don't use that as a proper, that's the defense against it,
I will say that I like that there's a jump that's, a higher skill cap, or that rewards a higher, skill cap type of play in the game. I'm glad that that's there, but I just wish it was also a little bit more balanced at the same time, just because it's just so difficult for anyone to mess with.
I've been thinking about that, and how could they actually balance it right now? Because if they start changing mechanics like that, that's a core mechanic that's baked into the game at this point.
People use that into their play styles.
Exactly, and they understand the distance of the blink. They understand the trajectory once you've been doing it enough. And if they start manipulating that, it'd be like, okay, Titans don't have as high of a jump now, or on their boost. It'd be like that would change a lot of things for you. And
Plus,
at
I'm
the
sure
same time,
a lot of the maps are balanced around that as well. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. Yeah. At the same time, though, there's a definite advantage if you understand how to blink and use a shotgun. It's clearly advantageous for getting in people's grills immediately.
Well, they could definitely get rid of the invulnerability. So you can be shot at any point in there.
But it feels more of like a lag thing.
The invulnerability isn't really the fact that they don't take damage. It's the fact that there's no tell when they're jumping, that they move instantly. So there's no time where you can shoot them while they're in the air, moving up to you. Warlock Glide is coming up to you with a shotgun. At least you can react to it. Titan, same thing. Okay, he's bum rushing me. Probably got a shotgun. Let me switch, or let me try and get out of the way. But with Blink, it happens so quickly that you don't have time to react.
Yeah,
that's where the invulnerability kind of comes into play.
Yeah, and also connection issues too. So when you have any kind of lag going on, that blink just gets stacked on top of the lag. And so suddenly you thought you shot that person before they blinked, but instead they're above your head.
Yep.
Yeah, it's something it's something that I hope they do take a look at, and they acknowledged it, if I remember right, in one of their past Q&As, or I think it was at the open house. They acknowledged that blink and a shotgun is very strong. And they have a quote unquote close eye on it. But I'm hoping something happens, but at the same time I'm hoping whatever they do lightly.
Well, what do you think they would end up fixing? Would they end up fixing blink, or would they end up fixing shotguns?
I think it
what's the better route? Yeah. I think a combination.
Could they
of
make
both.
blink go higher instead of longer, further?
No, you know what it'd be? It'd be the ready up time. They'd have to increase the ready up time for your weapon when you blink.
The problem with that is then it gives blade dancers an advantage over warlocks, because blade dancers can spec for that quick spec, so their weapons will always ready. They might have to
switch that though. They might have to switch that on that spec, so that could be something good. So if they changed the distance of blink, that'd be very intense, for the game mechanics and all the way around. But if they change that one spec, so instead of having ready up immediately on blink, maybe they change it so it wouldn't do it on blink, and
it just has no effect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Maybe something along the lines of the hardest thing to do with blink is, I think, predicting where it's going to go. I think we can kind of all agree on that. So maybe make blink go in a more predictable pattern, because right now you can control where blink goes. A very experienced blink user can effectively jump and then cause themselves to blink so they show up right in front of you instead of above you.
It's the momentum.
Yeah.
So if you jump, wait a second for your arc of momentum to go down, and then blink, you will blink forward.
Yeah, which is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of the frustration does come from not knowing where people are going to be. So maybe make blink always go up at a 45-degree angle or something like that.
I feel like at a minimum, they could at least add a trail to where they're going. Like, so if the person blinks, you could see kind of like, like a little after effect of the blink where it shows the direction that they went, like a very small kind of trail. So at least you have a general idea where to look.
Or like a phantom image of where they're about to be.
Yeah.
Yes, something like that. Something where there's at least some sort of a tell where they're going to end up.
Yeah, that
so you have a
could
chance
work
to
a
defend
lot.
yourself.
I like that. Yeah. So basically, if you guys plays like if you guys have played Super Smash Brothers, like I think it's Fox's up B will cause him to teleport in a similar fashion to Blink. Basically, it shows where he's going to go before it happens. So yeah, that might be something to look at.
That could be a good fix, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that's the big. I think that's the biggest problem is that there's no way that you can protect yourself against someone who's that good, and I feel like there should always be a counter to everything. As slight as it might be, like even something like that, you're probably gonna lose 9 out of 10 fights, but there's gonna be one time where like, now that I actually could see where you're going, I have a chance to defend myself.
I just bring out a sniper rifle and then just shoot in front of me. Hopefully it headshots him, and it makes for sick footage when it happens. That's my counter right now.
Then I post it up on YouTube with their username in it.
Counter is, you're going to be in my montage.
Yeah.
I like it. I guess we can kind of switch topics, but I like that discussion on Blink. That was good. Bungie, please listen to what we just discussed. I know you listen.
Yeah, it does need to be looked at. I will admit, because I'm guilty of it. Like, I use a Judgment 6 instead of Fellwinners, and I blink all over the place and shoot people.
Hate
piss them
off. This week we saw something really interesting, or my weeks are confused. I've been at a conference the past 2 weeks, but we saw the world first solo Atheon kill from someone. Did Tefty, Breyer, did you guys see that?
Yeah.
I did not get a chance to watch it yet, so maybe you can give me like a synopsis real quick.
Did you see the world first from Slayer Age and another guy in his clan? They did a duo of Atheon a long time.
Yep.
Same strategy from the Sunsinger. Like the Sunsinger just stayed out. He used Bad Juju, Black Hammer, and then I think Hunger of Crota, and he just stayed out, killed supplicants to get his super energy up. Would jump off and kill himself right before Atheon teleports. Then once he's teleported and starts summoning the supplicants, he resurrects himself and then just chucks grenades at Atheon and then goes back to killing supplicants.
Amazing. How long did that take?
He got to the Enrage.
Okay, yeah.
On Atheon, so it was like 9 minutes or something, I think.
Wow, even that's impressive.
Yeah. What do you guys think about that? Like that's awesome for me. I love seeing that.
I respect his ability to do it. I will respect that. I respect the amount of damage that you need to put in, because I've killed Atheon with no Time's Vengeance before with a full group, and that can be a little stressful. So being able to do it by yourself is crazy. I just think that Fireborn itself creates a lot of PvE problems, but that's, I guess, another topic for another day.
No, we can discuss it right now. But. In a little bit, I guess, but I do respect it. At the same time, I'm like, man, it just shows how buggy shows how some of the fights can just be exploited, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're slowly starting to learn their lesson, in that, like, I don't think any raid should be able to be soloed. Like, if you want to do it with fewer people, fine, but if we're getting to the point where people can solo it, that's where I think Bungie needs to start like tweaking some things to make sure that you can't. Like, once again, I respect anyone's ability to go solo or raid, but I don't think it should be able to be done in the first place.
No,
they always require some sort of exploit,
right?
Something, and I got to give props to anybody who can figure that out and then execute upon it, because it always takes a lot of skill, whether it's Crota or Atheon. But I would definitely like to see Bungie look at these things. They've created this game. They've created all of these abilities, but they also have to balance what they've created with, the challenges that we face. And I think that's something that Bungie hasn't really been good at.
Yeah. Well, then again, they are still learning. There aren't any experiences like this in first-person shooters at all.
No.
Order Borderlands.
At all. So there. Well, I mean, Borderlands doesn't have
No, not at all.
raids.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, and also Borderlands raid bosses are just one bullet sponge with a
Right.
few like mechanics added to it. They're not
Exactly.
full on PvE encounters, you know.
Yeah. So I mean, they're still learning, and you know, I can give them the benefit of the doubt. But I think going forward, they definitely need to start either making elements where you require 6 people, or you require most of your raid group to be alive, or just maybe tweak the scaling of some enemies depending on how many people you have in. Because I know the fewer people you have in, the less health things have, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Like Crota, you know, his shield is not nearly as powerful as it is with 6 people. Maybe so you make it that his shield is the same health for everybody. You know, that would prevent a lot of people from doing that.
I mean, basically like World of Warcraft, you go in, you know that Ragnaros has exactly 1 million health, regardless of if you're in there with a 40-man raid or if you're in there with one person.
Exactly.
So
So there's no kind of scaling. I mean, that's what happened with the Nightfall. You know, they made it so if you had 3 players, it was going to be slightly easier. But if you were by yourself, they scaled it up so it would be a little bit harder. Still possible, but it ended up being a little bit harder. So I think if they did something similar to the raids for that, that would be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, when they did that too, they said it was a bug. They were like, by the
it was
way,
an
this
unintended
is-
change.
Yeah, unintended.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're making this so it's more difficult for solo players. Yeah.
I will say though, like in regards to encounters being soloed, like that's something that's kind of been in MMO's history of MMO games for quite a while. Back when I played WoW, there was a Blood DK who would solo current raid content, and that's what he was a legend for. So I do understand why people do it and everything. And at the same time, it just shows that you could design these encounters better. I think one of the most interesting fights in World of Warcraft was in the original Naxxramas. I don't know if you played it, Datto, but there's the Thrun fight.
I did.
Yeah, I think it's Thrun. Where it involved the entire raid on 2 different platforms, bouncing back and forth between them. Thaddeus, that was it, yeah. And then you had to jump down, and then people's jump down to fight the boss, and it was based on electricity. So you had some people were charged with positive, some were charged with negative, and if you met together, bad things happened. Everyone would die. So the raid had to be like grouped up into positive and negatives, and then during the fight, people would change their polarities. So then they would have to switch really quickly, or else they would die during the switch. Like that's just a really interesting fight mechanic wise, and I wish they would kind of bring some of not like copy the fight or anything like that, but just get a little bit more in depth into, you know, how we execute these fights. Because right now, I think like Atheon does have a lot of moving parts to the fight, but it's very simple at the same time.
Well, it is.
Yeah,
now.
it is now. I mean, it
That's true.
you know,
Yeah.
it took us, you know, solid 8 to 10 hours to figure it out the first time. But at the same time, mechanic wise, it's very simple. I'd like to see them like do more stuff that actually involves raid members kind of being in the right place at the right time, or executing something at the right time.
Yeah.
Like 3 teams of 2, you know, like you each have to hold, like just like they do with the beginning of Vault of Glass.
Yeah, Vault of Glass is
You know, that
is
was
a good
that was
example.
very exciting. Yeah, you know, I wish that they had done a lot more of that in the Crota experience. And also, it's weird that we can do normal in like 20 minutes. You know, it shouldn't be done. Like it should be like, okay, you have an hour to do this raid. 'Cause that's
Well, I like a lot of what Crota has. You know, I really like the first part, the Abyss, with your whole raid team just trying to get through that alive. You know, it feels very fun when everybody does it, you know, as a group together.
Yeah.
A lot of groups now will just send a hunter, you know, to the end and nobody else matters. But it's really fun to try and do it as a group and get everybody through it.
Yeah.
And then I do like the bridge encounter too, you know, getting each person over that bridge and then having their moment to shine fighting the gatekeeper, I think is really fun. You know,
I think it's fun
just
too. Yeah.
until you get to Crota that I think that raid just kind of, then you've got a sword bearer who's, you know, all eyes are on that guy, and everybody else, you know, doing their part, but not nearly to the extent of the sword bearer.
Yeah.
Well, also though, like, yeah, the Abyss first experience, it was like, wow, that's amazing. And then the bridge, getting everybody across, it was like, this is awesome. And then we got to Iriut, and like, okay, Iriut now, and then Crota shows up. Suddenly it was like, wait, isn't there more parts to this raid?
Where's that
Yeah.
that big floaty thing that was in the air when we messed up? Can we fight that?
Yeah, you know, like I feel like there should have been one more encounter, you know, because like with the Templar, you have the confluxes and then you have oracles, and oracles feels like a different experience even though it's in the same room. And then you have the Templar, which feels like a new
In
experience.
the jumping puzzle.
Yeah, jumping puzzle. You got the Gorgon's labyrinth and all that. You know, like really feel like if they gave us Crota first and then Vault of Glass, we would have been like, holy crap, Bungie is singing angel tunes because this is amazing.
Yeah.
My ears are glowing, you know?
At the same time, I think it's tough to compare the two because thematically they were going for very, very different things.
Exactly.
Like,
Sure, yeah.
Crota's End was going for that very action-packed kind of pace, and, you know, the Hive are very relentless, so they wanted to just keep throwing constant action at you, where the Vex, you know, thematically, very more mechanical and technical, so I think thematically they both worked, but it is really tough to compare the two, because they were after two completely different objectives, when they were designing those raids.
The thing that depresses me about Crota's End is that, like, it's a fun fight. The entire raid is fun. And you can tell that they were going for this, like, feeling of desperation. Like, this is a one-way trip for these Guardians, and, you know, this is their only chance to kill Crota. So there's this just whole thing of desperation that, like, Halo kind of had. But... And you have that for, you know, for the Abyss, for the bridge encounter. And then once you get to Crota, though, that desperation isn't from the actual, like, themes of the encounter. It's from all the bugs that are in that. You just desperately want this to, like, go correct for just one time.
I feel like that's less of an issue.
Yeah,
now
that
than it
is.
was.
Once people have actually learned the fights. But it's still there. Like, you know, if you go to Reddit, you still see... tons of
the
videos.
bugs still happen.
Yeah, you still see, you know, Crota chasing everyone into a certain area, which is always hilarious.
In the
But
crystal room.
Yeah.
A few days ago, a group of subscribers were helping me do Crota hard, and there was just bug after bug after bug. Sword would disappear too early. You know, the Crota would stand up immediately, and we had to call it quits and come back to it the next day. You know, so it
Hopefully,
still
1.1.2 will fix a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
so mentioning that you're playing with subscribers, it's because you recently started a new character on PlayStation, right?
New account.
Yeah, new account.
Brand new account.
And Datto, I think you just started one on Xbox as well, right?
About a month ago.
Okay. Do you guys want to talk about how it feels to just kind of basically restart, you know, push the reset button on a new account and everything?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Yeah.
For me, I like the experience of getting the stuff to drop for the very first time. So I didn't have as much of a fear of going like, oh god, I got to level up 3 characters to 20 and all that. So seeing my first exotic drop again was a fantastic experience and brought a lot of joy to me.
What was your first exotic?
The Vex Mythoclast.
Of course.
Now, the only reason it was the Vex Mythoclast is because subscribers Sherpa'd me all the way through.
That's
you know,
awesome.
so, yeah, it was fantastic. You know, it was a fantastic experience to have. And then getting to do all these, or seeing the raid gear drop again and being like, yes, I can hit this level, and then I can do the Nightfall, and I can then do this. It's awesome. What does sucks a lot, actually, is being locked to the class-specific upgrade materials. Because those really feel like the true grind is in the class materials. Because you can get Ascendant materials, you can get Radiant materials now that you can do normal and hard. But the class materials are the grind. I will say that.
Interesting.
Because you're just waiting to pick up engrams.
Yeah, exactly. You got to run rock strikes and get as many blue and or green and blue engrams as possible. You know.
Mm-hmm. And even when you're doing like an alt character, that ends up being the slowest part.
Yeah.
But that can be somewhat taken away by the fact that you just move all your engrams over to that character to decrypt, like no matter who you're playing on.
Yeah.
But on a brand new console where you don't have any,
Yeah.
fully leveled characters,
Grimoire
it's just got to take
0.
forever.
Yeah.
It's actually funny walking around with like a Grimoire less than 2,000. I'm sure people see me and be like, "Hey, wait, he's got less than 2,000?"
Please tell me you went into the Crucible with with a Grimoire score of like 200, and then just wrecked face.
I did actually. I had a regulator Mark 56 that was level 10, so I could go in there and pretty much two-shot people that had low armor because the impact on that thing is ridiculously high. And then I also had I think it's Black Chasm.
Black Chasm, yeah.
Black Chasm, yeah. So I had that shotgun with the regulator Mark 56, and I would just, rack up 2.0 KD with my low Grimoire.
Okay, you've convinced me. I'll start my Xbox account.
It's a lot of fun. If you don't mind, like, you can't think of like, okay, I don't have this exotic, I don't have this, that, like, you can't think of it that way. You have to think of, this is awesome getting to see this drop for the very first time again. Like, for instance, this will be a spoiler for anybody who follows my PS4 adventure series, but the other day I got my first Fatebringer, and I was so excited to get Fatebringer again. So that's my experience.
Yeah, I mean, for me it's been pretty similar. I just don't play the character as much as I would like to, just because I was, for me, for the longest time I've been focusing on leveling up all the exotic weapons for reviews and stuff. So I got to make sure I do all my my bounties on every single character, and that takes up a lot of time to do it on every single one every day. Plus, I'm playing a hunter on Xbox, and hunters are gross. So
take that back.
So for me, it's
Hunter
just a matter of getting on there again. I'm slowly getting to the point where I'm like, all right, I got a few more exotics. I got the marks again. I can buy some more weapons. It definitely is a cool experience, but at the same time, a very daunting one. Like, I'd say the grind to 20 is probably the least of your problems if you're starting a new account.
Yeah.
But it's just, maybe you don't know as many people on Xbox. That's definitely the thing for me. All my clanmates are on PS4. Barely any of them play on Xbox. So it's just, it can get a little tedious at times, especially, with the class-specific materials. That's probably also my biggest issue, is that, you gotta go farm green engrams so you can level up your most powerful raid gear. It seems a little weird to me. Like, I gotta go farm some level 8 so I can get the super chest piece of Crota that I peeled off his skull to upgrade. Seems a little different, but yeah, I've been basically have very similar experience.
So
yeah, I can't imagine going through like 6 rounds of bounties per day, or even doing like 6 nightfalls and 6 weeklies a week.
Yeah.
Oh, the nightfalls are not that bad, actually. Like, the bounties, I can't do all the bounties, because that's just too much bounties, too. I have to be choosy. And also with this Iron Banner, I'm like, okay, I'm probably going to hit rank 4 on the Xbox, just because I want a few things. I want to get the hammer again. But on the PS4, I want to get the chest piece and the boots for my Warlock, So I'm like, okay, rank 4 at least on there as well, which that'll be interesting. Also, being level 30 in the Iron Banner doesn't help. So
Yeah.
No.
You need to level up your Red Death, then it won't matter.
yeah, I do. But
True.
again, I don't have any telemetries because it's a fresh account.
I'll tell you, that Warlock chess piece is so sexy.
It is. I'm excited about it.
As a
Yeah.
Sorry.
as a hunter, I'm always jealous of Warlock robes. They just look so nice.
Yeah. Dado, I was going to ask you, what level is your highest on the Xbox so far?
I have a 31. My hunter's 31. I have 2 hunters. And I believe I am 32 capable. I'm just very stingy with my radiant materials since I don't play on it as often. So I want to make sure that, I want to optimize my gear stats first before I decide, like, all right, I'm going to use the shards on this stuff now.
Yep.
So I'm just being probably a little too picky for my own good about picking out my armor. But I can be 32.
That's actually the exact same position I'm in. So I started the last Thursday of February, and I'm now capable of hitting 32 on my Titan. but I don't know if I want to spend it on something that has a lot of strength. You know what I mean? So
I can tell you, you don't.
exactly. But I'm like, well, I could hit 32 so fast,
Yeah.
and I'm like, maybe I should just wait.
Yeah, if there's not any,
Then you're just
there's
waiting
not any
for
urgency.
RNG, though, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. What was that, Rabbit? Fry Rabbit?
Then you're just waiting for RNG to be favorable to you, and that can be
Forever.
frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say, RNG has been loving my PS4 account. So I got full raid gear after 2 normal runs for my Titan.
Hate.
And I have basically all of the Vault of Glass weapons already, except for Foil and Timepiece. And I have all the hard mode weapons on Crota as well, including the Crux.
Once I found out that there is Crota's End raid helmets that actually have that ability to, when you pick up an orb, to regen health.
Yeah.
That's what I've been hoping to get. I don't care about the Crux. I don't care about raid weapons anymore. I just want that helmet.
Oh man, that drops
And
for
I've
me.
never seen it drop.
That drops for me so often. It's crazy. I've had easily 25 helmets drop for me, and almost all of them have that attribute. I've only had one with inverse shadow, and those are the ones I always look for.
I've gotten like maybe 3 helms. I've not seen a lot of helms at all from Crota. Best one I have is like a full discipline one. I'm still waiting for that discipline intellect, or even full intellect. I'll tell you that. But
I seem to be crazy lucky in the helmets. Like I said, I already got a helmet on my Titan. Actually, I got another one in this recent for the PS4, and then on my Hunter, I've just had endless helmets. It's too many.
It's pretty funny for RNG stats on my Warlock. He was the first character I got 32 on, but I had the worst stats. I had like 486 discipline, so every single roll was for discipline. I didn't even need to roll Heart of Praxic Fire to get that instantaneous grenade thing when I went Sunsinger. But yeah, it was. I finally got it balanced now, so it's all intellect discipline. But God, that was brutal for like the first part of Crota. Just no.
yeah.
Yeah.
While we've been talking, Bungie has released their weekly update, as they seem to usually do during our podcast. I briefly read through it. One of the cool, you know that thing that we really have been requesting, how the game volume sound has been ridiculous and loud.
Yes.
Well, that's gonna be one of the changes coming in 1.1.2. We can
praise the traveler.
we can adjust.
Praise the traveler.
We can adjust. Praise Oryx. We can adjust game volume, chat volume, and we can also mute the music.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I mean, the music's great. Everything about the sound design of this game has been great. It's just, they want us to hear it too much. Like, look how good our music and sound is. Listen to it. I'm like, okay, it's good. I'm gonna go deaf now, but can you just turn it down just a little bit? So,
hey, did you hear the Archon Priest is still inside that thing? We better get to it.
Yeah.
Hey, I think they brought a tank, guys.
Yeah.
So, in addition, colorblind mode will be introduced. I am not colorblind.
Yeah.
I don't think I am.
Yep.
I'll discover it when I mess around with these things. But
I'm sure.
Yeah, I will play with it, because in the past with Call of Duty, I've changed those around just because sometimes it's just a little easier to see it, even though I'm not colorblind.
this looks like colorblind mode will be introduced, and I think that's it as far. Yeah, that's it as far as updates go for this week's weekly update.
Hey, that's, quality of life stuff.
Yep.
Is always good stuff.
Hey, I mean the music, the sound thing has been what people have been requesting since like the alpha. I'm pretty sure. That was one of the things that I put in as a request. I like this music, but I'd like to not hear it.
They've been historically really nasty about that too. I remember, what was that guy, Marty
O'Donnell?
I can't remember. Yeah, he had literally said that there's no way we're ever going to have the ability to take out the sound. I worked too hard on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want you to listen to Nickelback during a Halo 2.
Nickelback will play.
But yeah, it'll be nice. Streamers and YouTubers will be really happy about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was one of the biggest problems I have is like my chat always complains that they can't hear the other people in my party if I'm using just like regular Fireteam chat. And it's like, well, it's tied to the game volume. So if I turn up them, then I turn up the game volume and it's basically like nothing happens.
Yeah, you can also adjust
Yeah.
chat volume too in this. It's saying it's going to do,
which is great.
Yep, just turn the game volume down to like 25%, chat volume up to 11. We're good.
It's pretty awesome.
I try not to use that in-game chat though. It sounds horrible.
Yeah, compression on is really bad. I wish that they would give you an option for the, I think it's Shax in the Crucible, because I'd like to turn him off.
I don't mind him too much.
I hate it when he's like, "You're crushing them," or pick it up.
You're ahead by 250 points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't need to know this stuff. I'm in the middle of shotgunning somebody while I blink.
Dick. What I hate is when he's like, you should have chosen your teammates more carefully. It's like, I had no part in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't give me the choice.
You just paired me with these guys.
You should have seen what these idiots were doing during the weekly strike.
Oh, that's an awesome weekly update. I'm definitely happy to see that.
Yeah, very, very good. Very, 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 very good.
All right.
Quality. I'm always gonna be a fan of quality life stuff.
Indeed.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think the last thing I wanted to discuss here, we're going to start doing a segment on the podcast where we bring in a community question. And one thing that we had a community question of, what are your thoughts and opinions on a mode with no supercharge abilities, but radar, grenades, and melee stay as they are? And this would obviously be for PvP.
I mean, I would welcome it. Supers and heavies for me is just like, it gets to be too much at times. Like, you'll run into groups of like 6 hunters or something like that, and they'll just chain golden gun off each other nonstop for the whole game.
Just a pack of hunters picking up each other's orbs and killing things.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd be a fan of it. That's why I was intrigued with Inferno. Is like very limited super. And, I play off the radar, so that change I wasn't too happy about, but I obviously get the entire point is to not have the radar, but that's why I was so happy that they made the change to heavy ammo, when, now when you kill someone, you don't get any heavy ammo from them anymore, which is great, because heavy ammo was definitely sticking around for way too long. Like, you would still be seeing people with heavy ammo by the time the next heavy ammo spawned, and I was like,
yeah,
alright, maybe we need to tone this down a little bit. But
that was my complaint about it too. Like I felt when they dropped the heavy ammo thing, I was like, yes, because I'm not a fan of one-hit kills constantly. Like, if I want that, I'll go to Call of Duty. I want to work down a shield and then get a kill. And granted, I know I say I shotgun blink, so that goes against that philosophy that I just said right there. But I'm not always shotgun blinking, And I wouldn't mind if
sometimes
they
you have to reload
special ammo. Exactly.
Hey.
Sometimes I got to go off in the corner and reload, and then pop Blade Dancer.
Yeah. The thing that I did hate about Inferno was that, like, supers were even more aggravating there, because you would go around the corner and, hey, Mr. Blade Dancer, let's just get this over with. Or, Titan Fist of Panic was just even worse there, because now you had no idea where he was coming from.
True. Yeah.
So I think if they wanted to take Inferno mode a little bit more seriously, they might look at severely limiting supers or just removing them altogether.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, just
to be honest,
I wouldn't mind it.
Yeah, I'm a big, like I said, I'm a fan. I come from Halo, so if you earned a rocket launcher by running out to the place where it spawns at the exact time, then you earn that rocket launcher. But you don't spawn with one-hit kills. And supers to me is just a timed one-hit kill that's waiting to charge up. So I wouldn't mind it, because also, if you do the Titan bubble chaining with one golden gun, like, that's ridiculous. You can get 30 kills as a golden gun with people popping bubbles on Titan.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see him change the main game, but
no,
I wouldn't mind seeing a playlist where they just took it out. That'd be fun to at least check out for a week or so.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't want it to be permanent, but it'd be fun to get to jump in and taste that for a while and be like, oh, it's nice not getting Fist of Panic around the corner, so.
A world with no blade dancers.
Oh God, it sounds
Imagine
like heaven.
It's so beautiful.
Oh.
And just for the Titans, they took away Blink for that mode.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. This has been Patrick Casey with PlanetDestiny, and this was our 9th PlanetDestiny podcast.
Number 9. That's big.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
I'm Briar Rabbit from the Briar Rabbit channel.
And this is Tefty Teft from the Tefty Teft channel.
And I am Dado of Dado Does Destiny on YouTube.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next week.